You know, every day I learn something new about how Rise of Kingdoms works, and today someone pointed out to me that one of Joan of Arc's skills is performing way better than you might have expected. Stick around for our breakdown on why Joan of Arc is actually so freaking good. And spoiler alert, it's not just because she buffs a bunch of stuff, but one of these other skills is doing way more than it says it does. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the skills on Joan of Arc that is doing way more than it describes. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. We're a sponsored content creator, and I really didn't know that this fourth skill is doing so much more than meets the eye. It says it does only a normal attack damage boost, but we're going to prove to you it does a lot more. Now, for context, this was actually nerfed a long time ago. Joan of Arc used to reduce all damage taken by 25%. Now that's massive. It's such a big deal to reduce the damage you take. And it seems like the more of that you get, the better it does. And when it was flipped over to just boost the normal attack damage by 25%, people were obviously upset because I think the other version was definitely better. Even though Joan of Arc is still like crazy good, she was like legit legendary tier, even though she was an epic, okay? So what is different about this skill that is not in the text? What if I told you that it was buffing more than just the normal attack damage? So I couldn't believe it, but we're just gonna run this test. And I want you to look at the amount of counterattack damage that we take when we run this test. Because you see, our friend Mineral Wasser 69 pointed out to us, hey, wait a minute, Chisgule. I'm looking at these reports, and they sent me the reports, and they said, I can't figure it out. I'm battling a barbarian 2 times, and when I bring Joan of Arc, my counterattack is much higher. And I said, whoa, hold on. And I looked at his logs, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my God. Is Joan of Arc buffing counterattack damage and normal attack damage? I mean, like, for perspective, and I know I said I was going to run a march out and do a test. We'll do that in a second. For perspective, if we look at Charles Martel, his fourth skill, this is a legendary commander, is boosting counterattack damage by 30%. So if Joan of Arc boosts normal attack and counterattack by 25%, no wonder she's still so freaking good. Okay, so let's actually bring her out onto the field and see if we can observe this. And to run this test, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a City Keeper. The City Keeper has like nothing, okay? The City Keeper has no fancy anything. I mean, I'll show you. I don't even have a single talent point applied to this City Keeper. No talents. This City Keeper has an active skill that boosts defense. We're not even going to fight long enough to get the advantage of that. We get some infantry stat boosts. We're not even going to bring infantry. We're going to bring cavalry to try to prove this. And it doesn't even matter what barb we fight. We'll do a level 20. I mean, it's got to be the same barb over and over. But here we go. All right, just kidding. We're going to fight this level 22 barb instead. We have our City Keeper, our 50,000 calves. We're going to knock it a couple times, get some normal attacks, some counterattacks. Then we go back to town. Then we're going to add Joan of Arc. So there'll be a secondary commander in the mix here. Then I want to compare something. I want to compare to the amount of counterattack that we're going to get from a Charles Martel, okay? And the Charles Martel should be giving 30% counterattack. I'm eager to just compare the amount of normal attack boost, counterattack boost, all that good stuff, and just see if it stacks up the way that we think it should. So our first test is done. Now we're going to tag in the Joan of Arc. We've got the preset made with our Mamluks. We'll head out of the city. We'll hit the barb. Greatest waste of AP of all time. But if we learn something today, then I guess there is value to be had, my friends. So here we go. We battle the barb a little bit. This is enough to get our report. We don't need an active skill to see anything because that's not why we're here. We'll run it back to town. Then we're going to run one more time to get one more report because I want to compare to the Charles Martel. I want to gather this data just to see I don't know, 30% counterattack is the only thing we get. Again, we have cavalry here. So Charles Martel, the garrison skill doesn't matter. The expertise and the second skill don't matter. It's all infantry stuff. We just get this raw counterattack boost for the first couple turns of the fight. We could let the fight run just to see, like, does the shield do anything for us? I don't think it matters, though. I guess we can run it to its conclusion and just kind of compare the boost to the normal attack and counterattack damage, which I would expect to see. So what do I expect from this report when we get to open this up? So what you would expect based on the description of Joan of Arc is she's going to do 25% more normal attack damage, and that's it. But from what I saw in the report shared with me, there was a boost to normal attack damage and to counterattack damage. It was pretty meaningful. So I want to compare that boost to counterattack damage to this Charles Martel test to see exactly how much boost we think we're actually getting to our normal attack and to our counterattack so we can compare it all. How's that for some science for you, folks? For science. So we've already got a couple of these reports. We can start to look at them, actually. Let's favorite the one, favorite the next, and any second we'll have the other one, but that's okay. We'll start looking. Level 1 city, or level 20 city keeper. We're talking about 761 normal attack damage, 761 counterattack damage. It's actually exact. Exact, okay? So, and that's what I would expect. The normal attack and counterattack are the same. There weren't any things in there that buff them, okay? So they should be identical in this report. So now when we look at the next report, I would expect to see the normal attack up and the counterattack not up. But when I look in the log, we see they are identical and they are both elevated. We're up to 880. 880. So we gained how much normal and counterattack? I mean, it's right there in the log. We gained 120 points. So 120 points, I mean, that looks like about 18% normal attack and counterattack damage. That's like pretty legit. Now, the percentages don't exactly work that way, which is why we had to run out the Charles Martel, because you see, there's other things that influence the amount of damage you deal. You got attack, you got defense, the thing you're fighting. So let's just compare to the Charles Martel. We know Charles Martel is supposed to give 30% counterattack. So if we look at that report, how does that stack up? We'll go over here. We get a look. Battle log. What do we got? Aha. So here, we're looking at 30%, and it took us up to 905. Yeah, I mean, 30% was 905. 25% was 880, 870, whatever it was in the previous one, like really close. I guess 760-ish, right? It should be about the same. We're at 763 over there and 905. And in the previous report, we had 880 and 880. I mean, yeah, so this is like 25%, I guess. It really is like 25% normal and counter. Oh my gosh. So what I think Joan of Arc is doing, based on what I see in the logs, and that doesn't mean everything is perfect and hunky-dory, but from what I'm seeing, she is boosting the normal and counterattack damage. And that is remarkable. I mean, you thought the 30% counterattack from the Charles Martel was good? How about 25% normal and counterattack on an epic? Woo. So yeah, that's why Joan of Arc is maybe still really good. I think the description of this is maybe not right, because let's be real, her healing skill is really pretty lame. Her healing skill is really pretty lame. The boost to normal attack and counterattack is really exceptional. I mean, everybody is using Joan of Arc in Canyon, probably in Kingdom versus Kingdom. And, you know, when we talk about where normal attack is good, that's when you're hitting a target that's not hitting you, which is generally how you want to use Joan of Arc. The reality is people are going to swarm her, because who doesn't want to swarm the Joan of Arc to get her out of the fight? Well, the counterattack is really good when you have multiple targets hitting you. Now, obviously, you're going to lose the fight pretty quickly if you got a lot of targets hitting you. But my point is that boosting the counterattack is really great. I mean, when we look at Joan of Arc pairings, right? Like, man, Richard I is a really good pairing. Charles Martel is a really good pairing, because you have a lot of tankiness. And if they all try to swarm you down, dang, they're taking a ton of counterattack. Both Richard I and Charles Martel are dishing out a ton of counterattack. On the topic of like pairings that are just really, really good, we can go look at Takeda. Man, Takeda's a great pair for Joan of Arc. It's weird. I mean, I use this in Canyon. Joan of Arc primary with Takeda secondary. It's crazy good. I learned that from our opponent in KVK Season 4. They were allies in KVK Season 5, and that's 258. There was a player, I think Super Stud was the name, who used Joan of Arc Takeda, and I was like, oh, what's that? It's got to be bad. And then it rolled me, and I was like, whoa. And I still can't tell you exactly why they're so amazing and phenomenal, but boosting normal attack is totally on Takeda's plan. Like, he's all about the normal attack, and the counterattack gives him an element of tankiness when you put him on the front line in Canyon, where, like, yeah, he's doing a lot of damage with that extra counterattack to both targets because he reduces the amount of damage that he's taking so he can survive for a while with that Joan of Arc. Do a lot of healing between them, do a lot of counterattack now. It's really quite strong. So all in all, I don't know what this really means for Joan of Arc. I suspect she's working as intended. I suspect that maybe the description of this skill needs an update. And the reason that this skill is so good is because this skill is so catastrophically bad. I mean, this skill is astonishingly bad. A 10% chance to get a healing factor of 450, and it triggers only once every 5 seconds. I mean, like, for perspective, if we just get a look at Pelagius real quick, he's got a skill that does double that amount of healing and has no internal cooldown listed. Yeah, so I think what is going on with Joan of Arc is they're making up for how bad the third skill is with how good the fourth skill is. I think it's just missing the description. What's actually going on here? I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this evaluation. Did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? Is there something we're missing in this picture? Maybe we are. I'll admit that I filmed this once, realized I maybe wasn't thinking about this correctly, and then refilmed it, and here we are. I added in that Charles Martel test because I was like, that would be really interesting to include. So again, let me know in the comments what this actually means. Did we interpret it correctly? Consider subscribing for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. And if you're looking for more videos about how Joan of Arc works in Rise of Kingdoms, I actually have 2 of those that get into some really detailed mechanics on how multiple Joan of Arcs stack up, whether Joan of Arc can buff a garrison or not. I'll have both of those cards flashing up on the top of the screen. You can hit the little info button to check them out. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.